Hello everyone, on behalf of Esports Heaven, I'm here at Dreamhack in the Bud Light Zone with Rachel Quirico, working for the Bud Light Esports. How are you finding Montreal so far?
It's lovely. This is actually the Bud Light Living Room esports experience, so welcome. We're very happy to have you. This is the first time Bud Light's doing something like this, and I'm really excited. They brought me up to Montreal in the summer for once. It's lovely to be here, and haven't got my poutine yet, so I haven't quite considered myself settled in. But.
Awesome. Gotta get the poutine. It's like the cultural staple, right?
Absolutely.
So because obviously this is audio, the stage here is really something else with the setup that Bud Light has on the go. Do you want to just describe it a little bit for the viewers at home?
Sure. This is the Capcom Pro Tour stage here at Dreamhack, and what Bud Light has done is behind it they've set up this really cool exclusive VIP viewing experience, and it's sort of meant to reflect. I bet you guys can recognize a certain level from a certain game, and we're having a lot of fun up here because they've really recreated it perfectly. We have some professional fighting game players. We got Justin Wong and F-Champ, Street Fighter pros up here giving lessons to the VIP members, and yeah, overall it's just a really cool experience.
Killer. So for you, this must be kind of an almost magical experience. You've been involved in esports for such a long time. What's it like to see brands like Bud Light expand into this space, and even just like brands like Dreamhack expand into North America with a Montreal event? How is that?
Oh yeah, I mean, going way back, my first Dreamhack was in 2009, and I had to travel all the way to Jönköping, Sweden to go. So the fact that they were able to bring the LAN experience that was so essential out there to North America has been really, really cool. I got to go to Dreamhack Austin, which was really well populated. I did a little Overwatch tournament there, and now coming up to Montreal and seeing this venue and the way they've set it up, I'm really happy that North America has good LANs again, because I remember going to like QuakeCons, and like my partner Torch would go to like CPL's, Envision 2008, and that was where I really feel like I made some of my best friendships and had some of my best esports experiences. So I want that for every new esports gamer, and there's so many more now. You talk about like Bud Light getting involved. It's a huge sponsor that we certainly didn't have. You know, I'm thinking back to like Dr. Pepper and Hot Pockets were sort of like the kings of our day, but now having this adult experience alongside esports is doing a lot to, I think, legitimize the adult consumption of video games and lifestyle. This is something that I've grown up with. I'm going to be 30 soon, and I think a lot about how, man, like it's really cool that I'm growing up and my friends are even older than me, and we're all still enjoying this like really mature, adult, relaxed experience. You know, it's not the frantic Red Bull days of our youth. Now we're just kind of kicking back, and it's cool to have like Bud Light here.
Is that kind of change between, you know, like an adult experience coming into the world of esports and competition, and obviously yourself, you talk about growing with esports. Have you noticed, was it just one day you woke up and there was a very abrupt change and you kind of realized the world and the industry had changed so much? Or was it kind of a gradual thing, now you've just kind of gotten used to it and it's almost expected at this point?
I think it's never been. We had one really shocking moment, and that was the introduction of live streaming through companies like Twitch. You know, before that we were in hotel ballrooms, and only the people that showed up there and maybe some of the journalists such as yourself would bring the story to the world, but other than that it happened in these closed spaces. With the introduction of streaming in the early like MLG StarCraft days and everything that happened beyond that, it made esports a global experience, and that's when we really had to start thinking about not only the tournament elements and the fairness elements and, you know, the sponsorship and the competition, but the production and how we're going to show this to the world. And that's where it really started getting interesting as far as my job, which is sort of bridging that you know, audience experience and that gamer experience, and a lot of these brands now getting into the showiness of it and the VIP experience of it, like the Bud Light Living Room here.
You talk about the introduction of streaming services being such a huge thing for the industry on whole. I know that I hesitate to say back in the day because 2010, right? But you were involved in the WCG Ultimate Gamer, which was broadcast on cable television. What's the juxtaposition there? I mean, it feels to me, when you say cable television, everybody just expects that's a larger platform, that's a big deal. But like you say, like you talk about, the introduction of live streaming was such a huge deal for the industry, and it made such a big difference. Do you see esports taking a different direction where we don't really need to worry about cable TV or television at all? Or do you think it'll come back around and once again that kind of mainstream cable influence will come back to the industry?
I think, over the last couple years and before we really got the streaming technology that we have had in the last 7 years, TV was the end game. That was sort of all we knew, and that was the path to legitimacy. So early on, we had the Championship Gaming Series for 2 seasons that ran, and that was sort of the first time that we really saw on DirecTV competitive gaming in that format. Then in 2010, we had the WCG Ultimate Gamer Show. I was on season 2. There was a season before me that featured In Control and Amy from PMS Clan, a bunch of really cool people. And that was again a snapshot of our industry, and one that was sort of produced for a TV audience. So while it was faithful in some ways to esports, and the fact that I think we were the only competitive game TV show that I've ever seen to eliminate people by a factual solid score, as opposed to this crepe is not quite fluffy enough. You won or you lost in video games, and that was really amazing. But it wasn't a fully authentic snapshot. Now the fact that we have live streaming and you can watch gamers in their home element, you can watch interviews, you can watch people compete, you can watch the backstage experience, you can come here and see the backstage experience, that is more true to life than anything could be produced for TV. And that's why I think streaming has been so successful. Because there's a lot to look at in gaming, not just the matches, not just the interviews, the production, but the whole experience is so aspirational for so many people, and there's so many spaces to be filled that I think streaming allows us to showcase esports in its entirety, and that's the best platform for it.
Obviously, you're here on behalf of Bud Light. How did you come to be involved in this project, and what does it mean to you to be here?
It's amazing for me to be at a Dreamhack in Canada, just because, like we talked about before, it's a little surreal how something like Dreamhack has expanded and how something like Bud Light has gotten involved. The coolest part for me is that I really am getting this opportunity with the Bud Light Living Room to kind of take people not just into the VIP experience, but take them backstage and show them a little bit more of my world. And that's really how I got involved in this, is that I've sort of been in esports, been around here for a long time, and I have actually a really amazing agency, CSA, and they're really embedded in this scene too. I've been working with them for 7 years now, and so as an agency, they're really meeting with some really big brands now. They're sort of my business-facing side, and it's been amazing, just these big brands and the interest and the global scale of things. Hair companies and all kinds of athletic sponsors and lifestyle brands want to get involved in esports now, because the person that is esports, how do I say this? I feel like the idea of gamer used to be like that South Park guy in the World of Warcraft episode. We were like, look at this messy, unaspirational person. Now it's, look at this, college educated, physically fit, socially active, morally upright, really cool, brandable person, and that's something that parents can let their kids aspire to. That's something that brands want to attach themselves to. Gaming is totally transformed, and I feel like this Bud Light experience is a nice little snapshot of it, at least for me and my perspective.
Awesome. You spoke there a little bit. You're involved with CSA, obviously. That's your agency. CSA is probably, I don't want to make any speculation or guess or anything, but they're a huge esports gaming talent agency. And you also spoke about these non-endemic esports, or non-endemic to esports, these new brands coming in and expressing interest. How is that reflected in the world of talent? Are you ever approached by mainstream talent agencies? There's so much controversy now with esports consultants working in the field, having little to no knowledge or experience. Is it the same situation working as talent in the scene, where you're encountering people who are making you big offers, maybe new organizations, or even mainstream traditional organizations that maybe don't even know what they're talking about, coming to you looking to represent you?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, CSA, the agency that has sort of become, it came up organically in esports. Again, it was my manager, Andrew. I've been working with him for 7 years, and he's developed this incredible pool of management talent behind the scenes, and then in front of the scenes, members of the agency. I think it's me, it's Smix, it's Anna Prosser, it's Kelly Link, it's Golden Boy, it's Machine. I think most of the big talent, and I don't want to exclude people, a lot of the big talent is part of our agency, and we've been really quiet, right? Our agency is really, really small in the back end, and so these guys are constantly just working to manage us, and so we don't get a lot of time, we don't reach out. people are always kind of coming to us, and it's this really cool word of mouth thing and this really cool visibility of our talent, and that we're kind of like this neat little family. Like, I talk about like Golden Boy, for example. I've known him 10 years. Like, he stayed at my mother's house. Like, people that are in our agency are like really, really close to each other, and so it's this awesome environment, this awesome like aspirational friendship group that we have, and then it functions really well together in that we're sort of all these tentacles reaching out and referring each other to stuff. You know, someone comes to me for Rocket League and I say, oh my god, I'm so flattered and I would love to, but I've got really 2 sick Rocket League people that you may not have heard of before. And so this networking, this word of mouth has served us best.
Do you think that as time goes on and as esports grows, are we losing a part of that heart and soul where everyone's so connected? I feel like we have to be, just because it's so much bigger, right? Is that anything that you notice happening?
Actually, it's as far as seeing, how do I phrase this? I think that the heart and soul of esports is actually kind of being refined and polished and really solidified over the years. You know, early on in esports, we had a lot of people who would sort of see it as a small way to get in and turn over a lot of money and get out again, or, you know, come in and organize a tournament and then not pay out the prize pool and run away. And that was really what defined early esports. And now I think that a lot of that has actually been put in this situation where they had to kind of like put up or get out. And the people that have put up are the people that you see here now doing these big successful events that the sponsors have sort of located and latched onto, and the scene has really rewarded for being authentic and true. So we're in this kind of almost golden era right now where I see all the people around me that have been working for 5 years, 10 years, you know, working for free, doing all this, you know, extra stuff, off the clock stuff. Now is when they're sort of getting the job that lets them, you know, have a normal lifestyle, like that lets them put food on the table. I remember the day that I bought my first like coffee at the airport, and I was like, I can afford this latte. Like, you know, we're finally at that area right now where everyone's getting compensated, and the people who haven't yet are so close to it. So I really hope that people see this as a time of opportunity and to put their best and most unique foot forward. You know, the scene doesn't even know what it needs yet, and so the people that have been pushing their ideas are here, but now we need all the people who've seen who over the last couple of years have seen all the angles that we didn't see just by virtue of having our heads down in esports. And so it's just a huge open field. I'm so excited right now that so many people can come in.
So you've been around so long, you've worked your butt off, you've gotten to this point. What's next for you? What's coming in the coming years? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What are the plans? Tell us about that.
Cool. It's crazy to think ahead, because I never could have told you a year ago what I would be doing this year, and so, you know, I can only tell you what I hope and what I dream of doing, and that is that I hope esports gets bigger and bigger. And I found that as esports grows, channels have sort of narrowed for expertise. You know, many moons ago, I would have been hired to set up the venue, put the computers together, and shoutcast and host, and then shut it all down and put it in the truck at the end of the day. And now I just show up and host, and it's nice to specialize, and I think that I would love to take everything that I've learned and help more people specialize. So being part of CSA has really let me kind of flex that muscle, and that I've been able to go out and meet a lot of new talent and teach them the things that I've learned. Twitch has been really awesome. They have a Twitch ambassadors program now that myself and Kelly Link are a part of. She's another CSA member, where we actually coach future hosts, do improv workshops with them. And we also took that home to our agency, and we've been bringing in some professional talent coaches, some professional improv artists, and we're really examining what the role of host and caster is in a production and trying to make the best of that. So going forward, I would love to sort of be a matron of talent and take care of CSA family as it grows.
Well, awesome. I just want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule and talking to me. It's wonderful to talk to somebody who's been around for so long and who's such a recognizable face in the scene, so thank you so much.
Dude, thank you for your time. Like I said in the middle of the interview, I'm so impressed and I'm so happy that you're here doing this. This is what I did for years, and this is how you do it. So thank you for coming into this industry, and thank you for putting your time into it, and thanks for the interview.